Today's title is, you know what's annoying? Prints that do not sell. And every time I do a piece of work, I do it enthusiastically. And as I'm doing it, I just like it as much as anything else I've ever done. And it's imperceptible to me what people are going to like and what they're not going to like. Some people just gravitate to drawing, some people gravitate to painting, and some people gravitate to nothing. So I'm doing these things that I think are really something, and they're not really getting a response. And so this is a group of work that I have that I'm kind of surprised that people don't even talk to me about. And I love this stuff. And I'd love to make a living doing this stuff, but sometimes you don't get to do exactly what you want to do. So these are prints that I made that mostly started out as doodles, except for the painting. And the story about the painting is, I did the first version of it when I was in college at SVA. And the TV that's in the painting, that's upside down in the room, was not that uncommon in that era. That's a TV from the 50s or the early 60s. I was in college in the 70s. So these were things that people were bringing to the curb, but they were more common at the time. Televisions with big boxes with big funky speakers. Let's go to this painting. Let's look at it. So I was watching too much TV, right? And I felt like it was making me mad. And I thought to save myself, I had to annihilate the television. So this is where I'm at with this painting. Originally it was a rectangle. And I did it at about 1976. I redid it in about 1991 because I just always loved the idea. And when I redid it, I painted it on a piece of plywood that was cut out in this shape. And I wanted to sell this as a print in my gallery. So I made a print and I put it on a piece of board and cut it out in this shape. So what we have here is the one print, 1 over 100, okay? Because I'm not doing this again. Nobody likes it, I like it, nobody gets it, I have to explain it, maybe it'll make it interesting.
1 is a long way from 100, Victor. That's...
Yeah, it should say 1 over 1, maybe I should just take a little marker and cross out the zeros. What's happening in this painting is the television is upside down. I'm going crazy from watching too much TV. The television is upside down. It's bolted into the walls. See these little angle irons here? It has a metal wire going into a plug that's bolted into the wall. So it's hard to snip. It's got, it is upside down. It's got a picture of me inside the TV with my head shaved, with some sort of pattern on top of my head. So if they have to do brain surgery, they have a graph and a chart of where my brain's going. And it's got a hole in it that I think I drilled into the original painting. And so I have a hole in my head from watching too much TV. And this little sticker over here, which is painted on, or part of the print, was from Mad Magazine. And it was a sticker that said Moo. I don't know if anybody remembers Mad Magazine, but it could still be around if you're a certain age. It was part of your life. So what's happening is this hand over here is shooting the painting. I'm shooting myself on television. I eventually get it, and I kill the guy on TV. The guy in the mirror above the painting, this is actually also a picture of me. If you took a negative of it, it would actually look like me. I was painting from a 35 millimeter negative for color. And so what happens is eventually I kill the version of myself that's inside the TV, and I become a floating head that's angelically floating above a little splash that's rippling and popping up bubbles of water, rings of water, and I'm saved. I'm in heaven now. I am no longer trapped inside my TV. Here's a picture of a dog catching a frisbee. He's very happy. And here's a picture of Vince. my pig that lives inside the walls. He's a vain pig, so as he drinks water, he likes to look at himself. And so I just think this is so tripped out. You know, there's this painter named Robert Williams who does paintings that's kind of his narrative is this. I didn't know who he was. I should send this to him. He's the guy who started Juxtaposed magazine. He'd probably get a kick out of it, or even a kick out of the story. So the next thing we have, another print that doesn't sell, is this baby over here, the all-seeing, unfeeling eye. And this started out as a little stick figure. I took it into, I went to see my brother in Creedmoor State Psychiatric Ward where he lives. I showed him the stick figure. I wish I had it here right now, but I don't. And I said, what is it? And he said, it's the all-seeing, unfeeling eye. And I thought, what a great title. So I got into it. And if you look at this eyeball, it's a hairy eyeball that is actually giving birth to another eyeball, or something is dangling off of his pubic hair area. He's a tripod. He's got 3 legs. He's hooked up to Wi-Fi. And I don't know if this is a dunce hat or if he's just ready to party, but he's with us, and I think he's great. I made 2 of these, the mirror images of each other, the all-seeing, unfeeling eye, and nobody asked me about this. I just absolutely love this. I love the pen work I did in this thing. I did many versions of it and threw it into the scanner, blew it up, drew back into it, so it's got all this finery as far as like the line work goes. Then I have this child over here. This is, here, let me put this in front of this. Excuse me. Look at the back of this. You can hang this on your wall today. All right, so this guy, he is just some kind of spooge machine. And the top of his head is, initially it was just a little scribble. And what I did was I scanned the scribble and I went into each little line, gave it a dimension and rendered it. And so that area has been blown up and used in a number of different ways. But if you look at this, this is an example of what's on top of his head. And again, there's a pubic hair quality here, I'll admit it. I'm not shy, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's part of life. But usually, it's not on top of your head. So, here he is, and I actually started this thing when I was at a jazz festival in New Jersey. And so he's playing a horn, right? And he's also excreting some kind of liquid that's popping back up. And I don't know if he's urinating or if he's trying to fertilize the earth below him. I don't know what's really going on with him. I do remember seeing a monarch moth being born one day, and as it was coming out of its cocoon, it started to blow this white milk out of some part of its abdomen. And so that reminded me, that memory I put into this. And so I wanted to give him more life, so I put him on more of a landscape. And I made his horn bigger, right? And so what he's saying over here is, he's multifaceted. He's got a couple of personalities. He's so happy, he doesn't even have to go out of the house. He can stay home and talk to himself. So here we have one of his anatomy, one part of his anatomy going, be so horny, and another part of his anatomy saying, I think I love you. And I don't know much about their interactions. I just know they're having one. One of the annoying things about these prints are, I made them, everything's kind of a prototype, which I find very exciting to do. This is not the one that needs to be fixed. This one, as I make them, I'm figuring out how they work as far as manufacturing something like this. And I'd love to manufacture a lot of these if they would fetch an audience. But as I have them and they're not fetching an audience, I get to see how they maintain themselves over time. And this poor guy, I actually don't know how he was glued together. I do know how he was glued together. He was glued together poorly. This guy is falling apart. Let me see if I can get some glue out of this thing. So my job is to not let these things totally fall apart. Now I kind of look like a doctor in an office wearing a doctor's uniform. Maybe that's what the lab coat's all about. I'm the art doctor. Well, I am at this particular moment. So I'm going to put glue over here. And then I'm going to put a book on top of it, something with weight. If you were to buy this puppy, you could do this every 5 years. Take it down, scrape the plaque out of its arteries, sew it back together. Somebody take this job away from me. And this is going to settle, and it's going to look fine. And so there's a couple of areas like that I have to do this with. Today we've been talking about prints that don't sell. Why? Because we really do think they're winners. They're going to sell. Interested? Email me, victor@victorstabin.com. Get all 5 of them, get a great deal. And remember, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe? Did you subscribe? Have you subscribed? Hello? Did you subscribe yet? How about subscribing? Do you need more subscriptions? Here, let me throw this at you. Whoa! Anybody want to get a subscription? Free, with every click. Did you subscribe yet? Okay, see you later.